You're watching one of a series of videos where Alisa Childers and I respond to 23 progressive Christian claims, kind of like a progressive Christian manifesto that was written by Ragamuffin TV. We deal with these claims, some good, some bad, some ugly, and I'm hoping that this helps you to think biblically.
So recently, somebody posted, it was a post from a more progressive Christian type Facebook page, and they said, oh my goodness, like, how do we answer this? And it was a post that had over a dozen, well, I think there's more than that even. I'm looking at it, there's like 23 like proclamations that was made by this progressive Christian platform. And I thought, the first person I thought of was, I want to get Mike Winger to come talk about these things, because I feel like you will bring such a good sound and, analytical perspective to some of these things. Because I think, honestly, Mike, I think some of these points, the average Christian would look at and be like, oh, that's dumb. I know that's not right, and I know why. But some of them are more complicated. Some of them are trickier. They're more subtle. And so this was posted, and the commentary given just before the list was made was, since you have many Christians telling you the opposite, I just want to encourage you with this. And then it just goes on to list this manifesto. We're going to go through them one by one today. Let's just get right into number one. And what's really funny about number one, I'll just say this, because this is going to air later. But yesterday, Mike, you posted about this on Facebook. Yesterday, like, this was all over Twitter. This is what everybody was talking about, because apparently some major evangelical leader cussed. And so everybody was discussing it. So it's a real hot topic right now, Mike. So, all right, number one, Mike, how do we answer this? It's not a sin to cuss.
Before I answer, I just want to point this out. There is an emotional or psychological impact of this kind of a statement. And I think the general impact is, here's something a lot of people do that they feel sort of bad about. And we're telling them, don't worry about it, right? Like, don't feel bad about it. We're liberating you. We're freeing you from the oppressive conservative Christians and that the real hell of society, which is traditional Christianity.
Yes.
And that's what I get from a lot of the progressive stuff. Nothing gets them more irritated than traditional Christians offering what they see as frivolous rules, for people's lives.
Yeah.
So that sets the theme for the list. The list is, I'm going to debunk a bunch of conservative Christian stuff. And some of it's less important. Some of it's more important. I would acknowledge this is a less important topic than the other things we'll talk about. But, and many people do obsess over words. They do obsess too much over words. Like, if you're like, you say darn, and they go, you shouldn't say that. That's too close to that other word that we don't say. Yeah. Or you say, oh my gosh, and then they're like, well, you basically just blaspheme the name of the Lord. And I would agree, that's unwise. That's not good. But let me read to you some scriptures, because the Bible's not just interested in you not cussing. It goes way further than that. And I don't mean less than that. I mean like more than that. So Ephesians 5:4 tells us, let there be no filthiness or foolish talking, nor crude joking, which are out of place, but instead let there be thanksgiving. So no, not even just foolish talk. Like, just foolish talk is ruled out, whatever that is, right? Colossians 3:8 says, you must now put away slander, obscene talk from your mouth. Obscene talk, this really does parallel with cussing. I mean, it just does. Sorry to people who don't like that. The question here isn't whether you like cussing or not. The question is whether on following Christ, it's consistent to have that kind of language in my mouth, at least casually, which I think is what this is getting at. James 3 tells us that the tongue is a fire, and that controlling my words, that is like a sample of controlling the whole man. And then I realized, wow, measuring every word that comes out of my mouth is just a great piece of self-control in honoring Christ. And Jesus put it this way. He says, I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account for every careless word they speak.
Wow.
So I do think that cussing probably is in that category. I think and it depends on societies. In our society, we have a certain class of words. Some are debatable, but some are clear. These words are clearly foul language, and that you don't want that in the mouth of a Christian. Some try to use the scripture and they go, well, the Bible has cussing when Paul says that he counts it all rubbish. No. Like, I'm sorry. He uses a strong word there, and it basically means feces, right? It does mean poop, and it is meant to invoke your reaction to that idea. But it wouldn't be a parallel to modern cuss language or
Right.
cursing
Right.
language. It's just not a parallel. So I've actually looked, and this is why I posted on social media. I was like, someone give me a case. I want to see
Yeah.
the case for cussing on scripture. And it's not there.
Yeah.
I might do a longer video on this topic one day because I find it interesting and it might be helpful to people.
Yeah.
But I would say my short answer is biblically, I'm called to so much more than not cussing. I'm not called to just not do that. I'm called to care deeply about every word that comes out of my mouth and make all of my life honor Christ. And that means purity in all things.
I love that. And you make such a good point about it's not just avoiding the sin of cussing, but how much further the Bible takes it. It's just so stunning when it says you taking into account every careless word, even just the careless words that we've spoken. And so
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. I think we settle for far too little as Christians. We do. And you're absolutely right about this list being kind of like, we're going to free you from the shackles of this legalism you've grown up with and all of this. And
Yeah.
so I think it could be really attractive to people because of that.
I'm going to be putting up one of these videos every single day until the entire series is uploaded on my channel with a playlist, so you might want to subscribe if you want to get those notifications. But if you can't wait, there's links to the 2 video interviews in large form that I already did on Alisa Childers' channel down below.